The checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
Geostat has published its assessment of Georgia's GDP for the second quarter of 2025, according to which GDP growth in this quarter amounted to 7.3%. The report reveals that growth in several systemic sectors of the economy remains low. For example, trade grew by only 1.5%, while manufacturing increased by just 2%. At the same time, some sectors saw declines. Construction decreased by 2.6%, energy by 7%, and agriculture by 2.5%. Georgia's exports reached $4.45 billion over 8 months, which is 6.7% higher compared to the same period last year. The re-export of light vehicles remains the leading export category, amounting to $1.7 billion. This represents 39% of total exports, indicating a high concentration in a single commodity. Auto re-exports themselves grew by 17% this year. A 26-hectare area of land from the Ambassador Island Batumi project has been put into operation. The first phase of the artificial island project in the Black Sea, the Western Peninsula's 26 hectares, was accepted for use based on an expert conclusion coming from the Samharauli National Bureau, prepared with the involvement of the foreign specialists. Starting in September 2025, construction is planned to begin on 2 ultra-modern, multifunctional buildings on this territory. A ceremonial groundbreaking event was held for the construction of Orbi Continental in Batumi, located on the Batumi Boulevard seafront, just 50 meters from the sea. The complex consists of the 2 towers of different heights, 55 and 37 floors, connected by a unified multifunctional platform. The investment value of the project amounts to $300 million. Last week, the prosecutor office arrested Kaha Kotorashvili, director of a currency exchange center and the company called Fini, on charges of money laundering. According to the prosecution, the defendant and the other members of the criminal group laundered approximately $624 million and 35 million euros in illegal income between 2022 and 2024 years. Investigative actions revealed large-scale illegal production and storage of untaxed cigarettes by companies owned by relatives of the former Minister of Defense, currently in custody. While the investigative service did not disclose the name, it was determined that the case concerns Vasil Kheidze, the brother-in-law of former Defense Minister Joansher Burjuladze. 3 people were detained, including the minister's former personal security officer from the illegal tobacco factory in Gori. Authorities seized over 300,000 packs of Karelia cigarettes worth 2,100,076 Georgian lari. The crime carries a prison sentence of 7 to 10 years. The factory had been operating since 2023. Georgia's Ministry of Finance investigative service seized an unprecedented volume of contraband, over 75,000 bottles of alcoholic beverages and 318,000 packs of untaxed cigarettes. 7 individuals, including former boxer Georgi Kandelaki, were detained as accomplices. In September 2025, Georgia completed repayment of its historical external debt to Russia. This debt dated back to the early years of Georgia's independence and was restructured under a July 2004 agreement between Georgia and the Paris Club creditor. The obligation included problematic loans of $160 million borrowed before 1999, interest on loans taken between 1999 and May 2004, and debts scheduled for repayment in 2004-2006. In total, the amount exceeded $225 million. The Ministry of Infrastructure has submitted an environmental impact assessment document for the 27-kilometer four-lane Natakhtari-Zhinvali road to the Environmental Supervision Department. The new road will allow speeds of up to 120 km per hour, enabling drivers to cover the 27-kilometer distance just in 15 minutes. At the end of the week, the president of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, paid one-day visit to Georgia. Discussions focused on the positive dynamics of political and economic cooperation between Georgia and the UAE. After meeting with the Prime Minister, Sheikh Al Nahyan also met Bidzina Ivanishvili. During the visit, Georgia's Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development Myram Kuyushvili and Eagle Hills Group's founder and chairman Mohammed Alabar signed agreements for the implementation of two large-scale investment projects in Georgia worth $6 billion.
This is The Checkpoints. I'm Elena Gwangilashvili, author and the host of the show, and the Checkpoints team is ready to sum up business and economics week for you. In the second quarter of 2025, the nominal gross domestic product amounted to 25.4 billion lari. The real GDP increased by 7.3% year over year, while the GDP deflator percentage change equal to 4.8%, according to the preliminary data from the National Statistics Office of Georgia, Geostat. Significant contributions to the real GDP growth in the second quarter of 2025 are related to increase of value added of the following activities: information and communication 37.1%, education 28.9%, arts, entertainment and recreation 16%, public administration and defense, compulsory social security 9.1%, financial and insurance activities 11.8%, human health and social work activities 14.3%, accommodation and food service activities 8.4%. A decrease in the real value added occurred in agriculture, forestry and fishing, that's minus 2.5%. Construction minus 2.6%, electricity, gas, steam and air conditioning supply minus 7%. The largest share in GDP by activity is held by trade 14.7% and real estate activities 9.1%, followed by manufacturing 8.9%, information and communications 7.5%, construction 7.3%, agriculture, forestry and fishing 7%, public administration 6.8%, education 6.7%, financial and insurance activities 5.4%. In January-August 2025, a total of $263.5 million was transferred from Georgia to various countries in the form of remittances, which was 9.5% higher than in the same period last year. According to official statistics published by the National Bank of Georgia, 479,200 transactions were made with remittances from Georgia during the reporting period. The data shows that remittances are mainly directed to neighboring countries in the region, with Turkey, Azerbaijan and Russia ranking as the top 3 destinations. The top 10 countries receiving remittances from Georgia this year include Turkey, $49.5 million USD, Azerbaijan, $39.9 million, Russia, $30 million. Ukraine, $17.7 million. Greece, $14.6 million. Uzbekistan, $12.1 million. Kazakhstan, $10.5 million. Italy, $9.4 million. USA, $9.3 million. And the 10th position goes to Germany, $7.5 million. In addition to these countries, remittances were also sent to Poland, Armenia, France, Spain, Israel, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, China, Canada, and other destinations. When transferring money abroad, individuals from Georgia mainly use Western Union, Zolotaya Korona, RIA, MoneyGram, and Intel Express systems. In August 2025, the volume of money transfers from abroad constituted 321.5 million USD. That's around 869 million laris, which is 10.7%, which is around $31 million more than the amount in August 2024, according to the report published by the National Bank of Georgia, NBG. As of the document, 96.5% of the total money transfers from abroad came from 25 largest partner countries, with the volume of transfers from these countries each exceeding $1 million in August 2025. In August 2024, the share of these 25 countries constituted 96.5% of the total volume of money transfers. In August 2025, $35.7 million, that's around 96 million lari, was transferred from Georgia, which is 7.8% more than compared to $33.1 million in August 2024. The National Bank of Georgia has issued a statement regarding the recently uncovered large-scale illicit income legalization case. The bank emphasized that it has actively cooperated with the relevant authorities within the scope of its legal mandate and remains involved in the ongoing investigation. According to the NBG, all requested information was provided to investigators in a timely manner following established legislative procedures. In parallel, the bank implemented appropriate supervisory measures to ensure financial compliance and sector integrity, NBG says. The NBG also highlighted its ongoing supervision of currency exchange points to combat money laundering and terrorism financing while ensuring compliance with international sanctions. The bank applies risk-based supervision in line with international standards, NBG says, and enforces measures including fines when violations are detected. In cases suggesting potential criminal activity, the NBG forwards information to authorized agencies, NBG stated. The statement further noted that Georgia's financial sector and its supervisory framework are consistently praised by international organizations, including Moneyval. The case in question, investigated by the prosecutor's office in coordination with the State Security Service, involves the legalization of approximately $624 million and 35 million euros between 2022 to 2024, with one individual detained on money laundering charges. One person was arrested in connection with an alleged scheme of launder an unprecedented $624 million and 35 million euros between 2022 and 2024. The prosecutor's office of Georgia said on September 16th the suspect is accused of setting up a criminal network to smuggle and launder foreign money through a currency exchange business, converting the funds in commercial banks by providing false information about their origin. He faces up to 12 years in prison on money laundering charges. According to the prosecutors, the person operated under the cover of a national bank authorized currency exchange office in his ownership, organizing an illegal network to collect funds of unfounded origin, convert them to alter their source, and place them into legal circulation. Members of the criminal group acting resulting in preliminary agreement, allegedly regularly smuggled, especially large amounts of foreign currency of unfounded origin from neighboring countries, concealing it in special places in vehicles to bypass customs and delivering it to a currency exchange office. To launder the foreign currency, the suspect allegedly took the funds to commercial banks over time, presenting them as legitimate earnings from a currency exchange business and providing false data about their origin. After converting the money at the banks, the suspect then allegedly introduced it into the legal economy by handing it to others for further handling and by purchasing property. The prosecutor's office said the scheme was uncovered in a joint cooperation with the State Security Service of Georgia, adding that large amounts of cash were seized as part of investigative actions, and steps will be undertaken to seize the illicit funds and other assets for the benefit of the state. The agency added that 7 other individuals have previously been convicted of similar offenses with assets worth up to 13 million lari, that is about $5 million confiscated in total. What else was new in the economy this week in our short overview?
Georgian Dream Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze said that Georgian state is strong enough to ensure implementation of large-scale energy projects, including strategic hydro and renewable initiatives. Speaking at an event dedicated to the Day of Georgian Energy Worker, Kobakhidze noted that in past years, harmful practices and even economic sabotage slowed the development of sector, but stressed that these issues are now being resolved. According to him, one of the key problems was reselling of permits, which had acquired a systemic form and hindered project development. He also said that foreign-funded organizations had directly sabotaged strategic projects, causing the state to incur danger of tens of millions USD. Unfortunately, the state did not have sufficient resources then to comfort such sabotage, although today the state is strong enough to ensure the smooth implementation of any large projects, including Khudoni, Nanskra and Namahwani, Kobakhidze emphasized. Georgian Dream Prime Minister outlined ambitious goals for the sector, expanding installed capacity to 8,000 MW by 2028 and 10,000 MW by 2013, ensuring Georgia self-sufficient in electricity. He highlighted that since 2012, the country has added over 1,000 MW to its system, compared to just 150 MW in 2004 and 2012, with the total capacity now reaching around 4,600 MW. New hydropower, thermal, solar and wind projects have all contributed to this rapid growth. The first Deputy Minister of Finance, Giorgi Gagauridze, says Georgia has not yet agreed on a payment schedule for 94 million USD it owns Russia company Interau following the outcome of an international arbitration dispute. Speaking to BMDG, he explained that negotiations are still underway and only after an agreement is reached the obligations be reflected in the state budget. This will requires some negotiations agreement on a schedule. This schedule has not yet been established. When negotiations are completed with the company and we know when and how much should be covered, it will be reflected in the budget. At this stage, it cannot be included since the 2026 budget has not yet been prepared, Gagauridze said. He added that the dispute is no longer a fiscal risk but a material result, meaning only the timing and terms of payment remain under discussion. On August 21, 2025, World Bank's International Counter for Settlement of Investment Disputes rejected Georgia's appeal and upheld its previous ruling of October 27, 2022, which required Georgia to pay 76 million USD to Interau. Since the payment was delayed, interest accrued at 2%, raising the total amount owed to more than 94 million USD. A new batch of 18-meter MAN buses has been officially presented in Tbilisi. The event was attended by Mayor Kakakaladze, Vice Mayor Georgi Temaladze, Head of Tbilisi Transport Company Georgi Sharkov, and Head of Transport and Urban Development Agency Nino Bagashvili. According to the mayor, the buses will begin operating on the city roads in stages starting September 27. Kaladze noted that 200 units of long buses purchased last year have already arrived in Tbilisi and are ready to serve passengers. He emphasized that the city has managed to completely renew its fleet with modern European standard buses and minibuses in recent years. One of the main challenges for our city is traffic jams, but we are doing everything to make public transport comfortable and efficient. That's why, based on studies, we are introducing bus lanes where possible, Kaladze said. The new 18-meter buses purchased under an agreement between Tbilisi Transport Company and Tegeta Holding run on compressed natural gas and can accommodate 162 passengers, including 43 seats. They are fully adapted for people with disabilities, featuring wheelchair spaces, folding ramps, and modern climate control systems. The buses also include voice information announcement, anti-vandal video monitoring, charging ports, Wi-Fi, and a fire management system. So far, 76 buses have already been placed on several routes, with the remaining units to be gradually integrated into the chain. The overall project value at €111.1 million aims to significantly improve the city's transport system and passenger experience. Officials say the rollout will continue in stages until all 200 buses are in service across Tbilisi. In August 2025, producer price index for industrial products increased by 0.1% compared to the previous month, while compared to August 2024, the index increase amounted to 3.8%, according to the preliminary data from the National Statistics Office of Georgia. The price for mining and quarry decreased by 0.3% compared to July 2025, resulting in a 0.02 percentage points contribution to the overall monthly producer price index change. In the same period, the price for manufactured products decreased by 0.1%, contributing 0.06 percentage points to the monthly index change. Within the group, a noteworthy price decrease was registered for coke and refined petroleum products. Along with this, the price increased for electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning by 2.3%, contributing 0.25 percentage point to the monthly index change. The annual producer price index rate was mainly affected by price change for the following groups: mining and quarrying. The price were 13.8% higher, contributing 0.86 percentage points to the overall annual index change. Within the group, the price were higher for the subgroup of metal ores, 12.2%. Manufactured products, the price increased by 2.1%, contributing 1.72 percentage points to the overall annual index increase. There was a notable increase in prices for food products and beverages, electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning. The annual price increase amounted to 12%, which contributed 1.23 percentage point to the annual index change. Negotiations between governments of Georgia and China have resulted in agreement to amend the Georgia-China Free Trade Agreement, originally signed in 2017. According to the Ministry of Economy, the talks were led by Gennady Arvel, the Deputy Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia, and Han Chengtain, Deputy Head of World Trade Organization Relations Department and China's Ministry of Commerce. The updated agreement introduces modernized provisions in several key areas, including e-commerce, technical barriers to trade, sanitary, phytosanitary measures, and investment promotion. Both sides agreed on the main part of the amendment text, signaling progress toward deepening economic cooperation. Discussions also covered the potential opening of Chinese market to Georgian honey and poultry meat with the Georgian side, expecting positive developments soon. The free trade agreement with China has raised trade and economic relations between the two countries to a new height. Not only has trade turnover increased, but investments, tourism and civil aviation have also shown positive trends, said Deputy Minister Arveladze. The parties confirmed that protocol of amendments to the free trade agreement will be officially signed in the first quarter of 2026, marking another step in strengthening bilateral trade relations and expanding opportunities for Georgian exporters in Chinese market. The Ministry of Agriculture of Georgia reported a total of 64,000 tons of grape have been processed in Kakheti region as of September 19, up to 4,500 wine growers have delivered their harvest to local wineries. Among the processed grapes, over 29,300 tons are Saperavi variety, around 28,300 tons are Karatsiteli, with remaining quantities coming various other grape varieties. A total of 425 wine companies and sellers are registered with the Harvest Coordination Headquarters, of which 163 are already actively engaged in vintage. The Harvest Coordination Headquarters operate 24 hours a day, with all available resources mobilized to ensure that affected wine growers can carry out their vintage without any disruption.
GCCA has identified 17 violations of the law of Georgia on the protection of consumer rights from September 1, 2025 to the present. These infringements include failure to provide essential consumer information, delivery of non-conforming goods, missed delivery deadlines, unjustified restrictions on contract withdrawal rights, and unfair commercial practices. The agency has directed the involved traders to rectify these violations within 1 month, align their policies with legal standards, and restore affected consumer rights. During this period, 5 traders were fined a total of 3,908 laris for non-compliance with prior decisions. Geopolitical conflicts have increased the need to develop alternative trade routes, including the Middle Corridor, Trans-Caspian International Transport Corridor, TITR, connecting Central Asia and the Caucasus. Report informs, referring to the international rating agency Moody's. Transit volumes and investment have grown rapidly, according to Moody's, mainly benefiting the countries in traverses Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. Middle Corridor development has helped improve sovereign credit quality. The transport and logistics sector's rapid growth has improved economic prospects and diversification, particularly for hydrocarbon-reliant economies like Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan. Increased foreign investor interest has also encouraged governments to align their institutional frameworks with international practices, Moody states. While state-led infrastructure upgrades increase budget expenditure, this is mitigated by some economies' fiscal room and access to concessional financing. According to the update, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Georgia's banks will benefit, but indirectly. Their reliance on short-term funding, Moody's finds, especially for banks in Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan, and their high cost of capital mean they are not expected to play a significant role in infrastructure financing. Banks will, however, indirectly benefit by financing subcontractors and adjacent sectors, Moody says. The corporate and SME sectors also stand to benefit from increased economic activity, which will also raise wealth levels, benefiting banks, Moody says. Increased trade flows and infrastructure investment benefit companies, particularly in the transport, logistics, and construction sectors. Improved transit roads are helping domestic exporters access new markets, Moody finds. National railway operator Kazakhstan Temir GSC is playing a central role thanks to its strategic location as the key beneficiary of the surge in transit volumes. The company embarked on an ambitious infrastructure program, as Moody's says, aimed at unlocking capacity. This initiative requires substantial capital outlays supported by state aid, including funding at favorable terms and tariff regulation. Obstacles to unlocking the Middle Corridor's full potential remain, despite significant progress progress, limited rail capacity, outdated logistics, and insufficient port connectivity across key transit nodes are major bottlenecks, Moody states. Policy coordination across governments is difficult because the corridor spans multiple jurisdictions with varying customs procedures, regulatory standards, and border management practices. Sustained multilateral cooperation, infrastructure investment, and political commitment across the region are needed, summarizes the Moody's. Petrocas Energy Group, a leading integrating energy distribution company in the Caspian and Black Sea regions, announced important changes to its shareholder structure following the completion of the transaction dated 25 April of 2025. The group's existing shareholders have fully acquired all the shares in Petrocas Energy Group previously held by David Iakobashvili. This transaction is fully aligned with Petrocas' long-term strategy of expanding trading, logistics, retail, and aviation fueling services across Eurasia and beyond. These changes strengthen our shareholder base and reinforce Petrocas' commitment to growth and operational excellence, said Chief Executive Officer Vano Nakaidze. We remain focused on delivering reliable energy solutions, expanding our retail and logistics networks, and creating value for our partners and the communities service, Nakaidze added. Our reporter Natia Taktakishvili will tell you more about business this week.
The world-famous hotel management company Rotana, operating in 46 cities across 24 countries, has officially entered the Georgian market. In partnership with Pontus, the group is developing Pontus Rotana Resort and Spagonia, the country's first fully managed 5-star hotel. Construction began in September 2023 and is expected to be completed by 2027. The seaside resort near Batumi will feature 546 rooms along with luxury amenities, including multiple pools, restaurants, bars, a spa and wellness center, conference halls, a panoramic terrace and casino, and a private beach. Speaking on BMG TV's Business Week, Parhan Shubayalat, Rotana's corporate development director, highlighted Georgia's rapidly growing tourist sector. He noted that 2024 marked a record year with over 7 million visitors, boosted by arrivals from India, China, and Middle East. Shubayalat described the Gonia project as unique, emphasizing its exceptional location close to both the airport and Batumi city, framed by sea and mountains. He added that Rotana is also monitoring opportunities for further projects in Georgia. Investors expressed strong confidence in both the project and Georgia's future. Co-investor and Rotana Cluster General Manager Eric Guliut shared similar sentiments, pointing to his family ties to Georgia and property ownership in Tbilisi, calling Batumi a dynamic and modern market with great potential. He praised Rotana's transparent and investor-friendly approach. I have worked with Rotana for a decade in many countries, and when the chance came to invest in Georgia, the decision was easy. Georgia feels like my second home, he said. With the Gonia Resort, Rotana strengthens its footprint in Eastern Europe and positions Batumi as a rising hub for high-end international tourism. Georgia's healthcare system stands out as one of the best globally, according to Pata Kurtanidze, founder of leading pharmaceutical and healthcare company Aversi. Speaking on BMG TV's healthcare standard, Kurtanidze highlighted two key factors driving this success: broad state funding coverage and freedom of choice for patients. Georgia has one of the best healthcare systems. I have been to more than 90 countries worldwide, and wherever I go, I always ask about their healthcare system. Ours is exceptional because first, we have one of the highest percentage of state funding coverage, and the second, our citizens enjoy freedom of choice, Kurtanidze explained. He emphasized that unlike in many countries, the Georgian government does not dictate which clinic patients must use when seeking state-financed medical care. Citizens are absolutely free to choose, which creates strong competition between clinics. With these two factors, high coverage and freedom of choice puts Georgia among the best in the worldwide, he said. Kurtanidze also underscored the
critical role of competition in driving progress across both healthcare and the pharmaceutical sectors. RC has existed for more than 30 years, but if we did not have strong competitors, we would not be at this level today. Competition gives everyone motivation and ensures development. If RC were left alone in just a few years, we could collapse. Competition is necessary. That's why the quality of healthcare and pharmacy chain in Georgia is so high, he noted. Founded in 1994, RC has grown into one of the leading healthcare and pharmaceutical companies in Georgia, with a diverse portfolio spanning pharmacies, clinics, manufacturing, insurance, and charity. The company operates one of the largest pharmacy chains in the country, with 128 pharmacies in Tbilisi and 167 across the regions. RC is recognized for offering high-quality medications at affordable prices, supported by qualified pharmaceutical staff. Demand in Georgia's residential real estate market remains stable, with several development companies reporting increased sales in 2025. According to Apex Development, the company recorded over 12% growth in transactions between January and August compared to the same period last year. Speaking to BMDG, David Kandelaki, financial director of Apex Development, noted that while the year began with slower activity, the market picked up high pace from March. 2025 started off relatively poorly at first, as sales in January and February were lower compared last year. However, the situation gradually stabilized from March. We did not expect August to show such high numbers. Overall, in the first 8 months of the year, we achieved an increase of about 12%, Kandelaki explained. He also pointed out that part of this growth reflects the low base effect, as sales dropped in the same period of 2024 due to the economic instability. Although demand is quite stable, we anticipate further growth by the end of the year, he added. The company expects the trend of stable demand and gradual sales growth to continue in the coming months, with residential real estate remaining a strong segment of the Georgian property market. Gold prices on international markets continues to surge, recording an annual increase of 44%, with the price per ounce now exceeding $3,500 USD. Torike Samharadze, CEO of Zaraphana, told Business Morning that the upward trend is expected to continue globally, driven by strong demand and ongoing geopolitical uncertainties. There are no indications that price will decrease on gold in the short term. It's likely that the price will continue to rise, possibly setting new records, Samharadze said. He noted that pure gold, the company's primary raw material, currently costs 305 lari per gram and could reach 309 lari in the coming days. The rising gold price has already impacted product costs, with a 13% increase recorded this year. Despite this, Zaraphana does not plan to adjust prices further until the end of 2025. Samharadze also highlighted the company's positive sales outlook. We expect to close 2025 with approximately 13% annual growth. August alone saw an 11% increase compared to the last year, he added. Salome Beraya, director of Pegas Touristic Georgia, stated that tourist prices are not expected to decline despite some fluctuations observed during the summer season. She made the remark on the BMG TV's program Women's Narrative. According to Beraya, the temporary price decrease, particularly for trips to Turkey, were not driven by market trends, but rather by incorrect planning by certain tour operators who overbooked more places than they could sell. When places are not filled, prices are artificially reduced, but this does not reflect the real state of the market, she explained. Beraya noted that Pegas Touristic did not experience such issue and maintained pricing. She emphasized that significant price fluctuations are not expected going forward. The price adjustment was independent of us and does not reflect changes in market demand and supply. Therefore, we don't expect a decrease in prices, Beraya concluded. Georgian startup Wine Diamond is preparing to export its unique Georgian-themed jewelry and wine salt to the United States. The company already sent its first batch to Iowa in September. Founder Tamar Abuladze told about it with TV program Women's Narrative. The opportunity arose after Wine Diamond's participation in the Open World program, during which the team traveled to the USA in June and established connections with local businesses. We recently received a letter and are preparing to export both our wine jewelry and wine salt, which we produce exclusively. By doing this, we emphasize that wine is not only a drink, it can also be used in jewelry and food, Abuladze said. The first shipment will include around 100 bottles of wine salt and 400 pieces of jewelry. The products will be sold in an American store specializing in handmade goods and unique foods from around the world. According to Abuladze, U.S. partners valued the uniqueness and ecological character of the items, characteristics highly important to American customers. Abuladze also explained that export pricing will be about 30% higher than in Georgia, reflecting U.S. tariffs and transportation costs. Foreign customers value handmade items and expect them to be priced accordingly. If such items are too cheap, they simply don't trust them, she added. Wine Diamond transforms wine crystals into accessories and food products, creating a niche for Georgian wine culture beyond the traditional bottle. Georgian skincare brand Elma, known for its focus on men's cosmetics, is planning to launch its own stand in Gdani Mall by the end of 2025. Founder Mako Maharoblidze told BMDG that the move has been part of the company's long-term strategy, but the lack of available space in the mall delayed the process. The brand is currently awaiting the release of a suitable location, aiming to secure a spot on the first floor. Maharoblidze emphasized that representation in Gdani Mall is a priority. Malls are so crowded that it's quite difficult to find free space. We had a recent meeting with a representative of Gdani Mall and are now waiting for feedback, she said. The brand views the stand as an important step in increasing accessibility to its products and strengthening its presence in Tbilisi. Currently, 90% of Elma's products are men's hair care items, while the company has plans to expand its women's line, introduce new offerings. The products are sold in the branches of the pharmacy chains in Tbilisi. Plans to expand to Batumi have been temporarily postponed due to the resource limitation. The brand also intends to participate in the annual New Year exhibition sale in Karwasla, a key platform for direct-to-consumer engagement. Regarding pricing, Maharoblidze noted a slight increase of about 5%, not due to raw material costs but to packaging expenses. Despite market challenges and infrastructure limitation, Elma aims to broaden its reach and provide quality personal care products to a wider audience, reinforcing its position in the local cosmetic market. Georgian winery Chelsea has opened a new distribution hub in China, strengthening its presence in the Asia market. The company's commercial director, Anna Mirianashvili, shared the news during BMG TV's Women's Narrative. According to Mirianashvili, Chelsea has officially established its own company in China and secured local imports and distribution licenses, a move that will significantly update operations and enhance the brand's competitiveness in the region. Until now, we only had distribution hub in Germany, which supplied our wines to the European market. Now, with the Chinese hub, we can respond to Asia market demands more flexibly and increase sales, she said. The company emphasized that doing business in China requires a detailed approach and strong collaboration with local partners. We have a partner there who has been working in the Chinese market for years and helps us with sales and distribution. The Chinese market is very specific, and operating from Georgia alone would be temporarily challenging without local presentation, Mirianashvili noted. With the launch of new hub, Chelsea aims to deepen its reach in Asia while continuing to build on its reputation in Europe through its existing Georgian hub. Negotiations between the governments of Georgia and China have resulted in an agreement to amend the Georgia-China Free Trade Agreement originally signed on May 13, 2017. According to the Ministry of Economy, the talks were led by Gennady Arveladze, Deputy Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia, and Han Shangtian, Deputy Head of the WTO Relations Department at China's Ministry of Commerce. The updated agreement introduces modernized provisions in several key areas, including e-commerce, technical barriers to trade, sanitary and phytosanitary measures, and investment promotion. Both sides agreed on the main part of the amendment text, signaling progress towards deepening economic cooperation. Discussions also covered the potential opening of the Chinese market to Georgian honey and poultry meat, with the Georgian side expecting positive developments soon. The free trade agreement with China has raised trade and economic relations between the two countries to a new height. Not only has trade turnover increased, but investments, tourism, and civil aviation have also shown positive trends, said GD's Deputy Minister Arveladze. The parties confirmed that the protocol of amendments to the free trade agreement will be officially signed in the first quarter of 2026, marking another step in strengthening bilateral trade relations and expanding opportunities for Georgian exporters in the Chinese market. Georgia has paid off its decades-long foreign debt to Russia, making a final transfer in August to settle obligations dating back to the 90s, according to the Finance Ministry data. The country also completed repayments to several other regional creditors. The country's final tranches to creditors include $4 million to Russia, along with remaining tranches to Turkey, that is around $1 million, Kazakhstan, which is $636,000, Armenia $516,000, Azerbaijan $585,000, and Iran $427,000. The debt restructuring plan was agreed in July 2004 under the Paris Club of Creditors, which consolidated about $160.6 million in arrears and maturities accumulated before November 1999. In 2004, Russia held the largest share at $153.2 million, followed by Turkey with $53.4 million, Kazakhstan with $27.8 million, Armenia with $19.6 million, Azerbaijan with $16.2 million, and Iran with $12.8 million. As of August 31, 2025, Georgia's total external debt stands at 9.1 billion euros. France is its largest bilateral creditor at $851 million, followed by Germany with 595 million euros. Simon Leviev, an Israeli national-born Shimon Hayat and widely known as the Tinder Swindler, has been placed in extradition custody by Batumi City Court. Local media outlet Batumi reported on September 17, 2 days after Georgia's Interior Ministry confirmed his arrest on an Interpol red notice at Batumi Airport. The ruling was reportedly handed down by Judge Nino Sakhelashvili. Leviev, 34, accused of swindling money from women he met online and the subject of the Netflix documentary The Tinder Swindler, was detained in Georgia at Germany's request over allegations that he defrauded a woman in Berlin, the New York Times reported, citing his lawyer. According to the New York Times, Leviev will be held for 3 months or until Germany seeks his extradition. His lawyer, Sagiv Rotenberg, said Leviev is appealing his detention in Georgia while also moving to have the German case dismissed. German prosecutors accuse him of stealing nearly 44,000 euros from the woman between 2017 and 2019 and incurring thousands more in expenses on a credit card and phone contract in her name. The woman also reportedly paid 9,000 euros for his hotel and flight in the Cayman Islands after he claimed his credit card was blocked and never repaid her. Leviev has denied the allegations. His lawyer says he is being held in extremely harsh conditions of detention without proper nutrition and in handcuffs most of the time. This is not Leviev's first arrest. He was detained in Greece in 2019 and extradited to Israel, where he was sentenced to 15 months in prison for fraud-related offenses. He was released early under COVID-19 measures, a decision that drew criticism from alleged victims. And that's all for today. We'll meet next Sunday. Before that, stay on BMG. It's worth it.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.